Hello, everyone. Welcome to Webtoon Book Club. Today's story, Family Man, by Pilwon Jung. Again, if I mispronounced that, I apologize. But today's story starts with a man actually saving somebody from a apartment that caught on fire. But there was propane tanks nearby, and he ends up exploding himself and the man out the window, but saving his life, while being somewhat injured himself. But the next day, he's at work doing his job in an industrial place of some kind, and because of the events of the night before, he is very tired. And ends up falling asleep on the job and getting horribly injured, which thus causes him to lose his job and also be scarred on his face. And he's too ashamed to go back to his family, so instead he tries to hide away from his family and tries to make it seem like nothing went wrong. And he starts to work for a friend of his that owns a dry cleaner. While meanwhile, there are some guys trying to make some quick cash through a scheme by stealing a school bus full of kids. And our main guy ends up seeing this, and his kids are on that bus. So he ends up grabbing a superhero costume that was used as a promotional thing for some car dealership or whatever that was at the dry cleaners, puts that on, and then goes chasing after the bus on a bicycle. And manages to stop the guy driving the bus and save all the kids. And for the next while of the comic, it is basically events swapping between him trying to build up the courage to face his family again, him secretly trying to help out his kids while wearing a superhero costume, and then also having to deal with the guy trying to steal the guy who stole the school bus doing continuous bad things, and him stopping the guy from doing those things, even though he probably would have foiled himself anyway because it's really stupid. Regardless, anyway, the story's ridiculous and I love it. Eventually gets to the point where he is seeking advice from another lady to try and help out his situation. And his wife apparently ends up seeing this and thinks that maybe her husband is cheating on him. And eventually gets to the point where those two women meet up and the situation gets explained on what's actually happening. But not before our main hero ends up going. There's an event going on. Yeah, there is an event going on, and our main guy is there. And it's just fireworks and everything. But the person that has been trying to commit acts of schemes ends up stabbing our main guy. But our main guy is able to get one good big punch out on him and knock him out before trying to stumble back to that other lady's house before collapsing on the ground, and his wife ends up seeing him. So he ends up getting taken to the hospital and taken care of, and he ends up surviving that ordeal. And his wife finds it hard to face him due to everything that's been going on, but eventually he ends up admitting everything to her, and they go out to a cabin out by a lake. And while they go out to grab some groceries and he's inside resting, a lamp ends up falling over and the whole cabin ends up burning down with him in it. And he ends up burning to death in the fire, and his family pretty much remembers him for all the great deeds that he has done for them and for everyone else. And that is where the story ends. A bit of a sad ending, but also a prideful one. And I will say the story was a bit hard to recount. Despite it being a pretty good story, it is shockingly unrememberable. And I cannot say why. There wasn't anything that was particularly bad about it. It wasn't really the most mundane thing. It just didn't really stick. But still a good story nonetheless. And once again, there is news stories in the list in the description. So pick which story you would like me to talk about. And that's what will be covered next time. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you then.